Easy Explained Pragmatism by William James, Pragmatic Humanism and Religion. So this video is going to sum up his work, our deep dive, our closer look into this work here, focusing on the end bits, the later parts, where he really tries to resolve this pragmatism approach to living, biocentrically forward, humanistically forward, as compared to leaning into what are traditionally dogmatic religious beliefs. So let's look at what James says here about creating our world. He says, in our cognitive as well as in our active life, we are creative. We add both to the subject and to the predicate part of reality. The world stands really malleable, waiting to receive its final touches at our hands, human hands. Like the kingdom of heaven, it suffers human violence willingly. Man engenders truth upon it. So here we start to see this, active creation being brought into this, human creativity. Looking a little bit ahead to Henri Bergson, a French philosopher that James and they're going to be very influential to each other. Just looking at how humans really are creating truth as they live it, as they discover it, as they continue to experience more and more reality, more and more of it becomes true. Right? Everything is evolving and being created along with us. So that's a big contra-dogmatic religious belief coming from James's pragmatism here. So let's look at what he says against rationalism, right? This is going all the way back to Descartes, Spinoza, and Leibniz, considering that worldview and what pragmatism would have to say about it. So James says that the import of the difference between pragmatism and rationalism is now in sight throughout its whole extent. The essential contrast is that for rationalism, reality is ready-made and complete from all eternity, while for pragmatism it is still in the making and awaits part of its complexion from the future. On the one side, the universe is absolutely secure. That's the rationalist side. And on the other, it is still pursuing its adventures. That's the pragmatic side, right? This sense of early 20th century Americanism, right? Adventures. They're out there. Let's get out there. Let's explore those national parks, right? A lot of that is what we see in this pragmatic way of thinking, is that the truth has to work and you are going to figure it out. You're going to get out there and decide what works and make something true. In this sense, we're going to get into a pluralistic universe, as James would call it, a pluralistic point of view, which is even a step beyond relativism. So let's look at and see how James defines pluralism here. He says, for pluralistic pragmatism, truth grows up inside of all the finite experiences. They lean on each other, but the whole of them, if such a whole there be, leans on nothing. All homes are in finite experience. Finite experience as such is homeless. Nothing outside the flux secures the issue of it. It can hope salvation only from its own intrinsic promises and potencies. Effectively, what James is saying here is that everything that is lived, every finite human experience, has as much truth and reality as potentially any other one. And outside of it, there's nothing, right? So we have a pluralism of truths, all working together, overlapping, coming into contact here and there, all building a reality together. So let's look at really what this means for religion. This is a big passage. I broke it into two parts, so let's look at the first part first. James says, you see that pragmatism can be called religious if you allow that religion can be pluralistic or merely melioristic in type, meaning continually improving, continuing to better. But whether you will finally put up with that type of religion or not is a question that only you yourself can decide. Pragmatism has to postpone dogmatic answer, for we do not yet know certainly which type of religion is going to work best in the long run. The various over-beliefs of men, their several faith ventures, are in fact what are needed to bring the evidence in. So you hear James is saying we need all religions to go out there and be put to the test to figure out what works and what is the best belief, the best answer in terms of actually getting us to practical solutions. Right? So pragmatism can be religious, religions can be pragmatic, right? But they have to be figured out for yourself. Second part of this, James goes on to say, you will probably make your own ventures severally. If radically tough, the hurly-burly of the sensible facts of nature will be enough for you, and you will need no religion at all. If radically tender, you will take up with the more monistic form of religion. The pluralistic form, with its reliance on possibilities that are not necessities, will not seem to afford you security enough. So it's this idea of being comfortable with the uncomfortable, right? Getting out there, having the adventure, being open to whatever you find, putting it to the test, and seeing if it works for you. That's really leaning into pragmatic humanism. Can be religious, doesn't have to be religious. It's really an open door for James, which I think is where a lot of the beauty comes from in this philosophy of his. So for now, hope that helps.